Hello and welcome to another episode of Kafka's Grill and Chill. Today we're actually not going to be cooking, we're going to be showing you maintenance on your cast iron skillets. How to keep it clean after you're done cooking with it. We're also going to go over how to re-season it as well if for some reason you do have to clean it. I usually do it every maybe 3 or 4 months, every season anyway, just to make sure nothing is sticking to my cast iron and keeping the maintenance up on it. So after you're done cooking with it, which I just got done cooking, you want to let it sit for a good 15 minutes and then come back to it. You don't want it to be cold, but you also want it to have a little bit of warmth so you can clean off the surface there really easily. So basically I like to use a couple different kinds of salts here. As you can see, we've caked on different little food bits and particles on the bottom. So what I like to do is I like to use coarse sea salt. That's going to really help break down some of those bigger items. I like to basically cover some smaller ones as well that'll break down a little bit easier. So I like to do a mixture. Grab yourself a rag, basically make it a nice spot to where it's gonna be able to pick it up right. Grab it and basically just maneuver that salt over those spots, and you're gonna see the salt's gonna start churning really quick once it's picking up all those bits and pieces off the bottom surface. Most importantly, when you're working with cast iron is maintenance. I mean, a lot of people kind of get scared and don't want to do the maintenance on it, but it's not really much work. It's more than most saucepans and whatnot, but what you get out of your cast iron, I think, is well worth it. The flavor it provides is bar none. So as you can see already, our salt's picking up a nice color there, and the bottom of our pan is getting nice and clean. That's going to take a couple of turns around, and you're going to want to dump this salt and grab some fresh salt and do the process a few times. And they're nice and clean and ready for reuse. So go ahead and dump this out. And as you can see already, it's just night and day difference. But I want to do a little bit better, so a little bit more fine salt and just a little bit of the heavy duty coarse ones. Just work that salt in. And you know, the bigger crystals break down as well. Make sure you move it around. Most importantly, when you're working with cast iron, is going to be oil. Oil is super important. I use Greek seed oil for my research. I found that's the best. Burns at a higher rate, therefore it provides a nicer non-stick surface. And as you can see, we're ready to go. Voila. Like a brand new pan. So as you can see, we're nice and clean. Our surface doesn't have any issues, and we can cook again and not worry about our food sticking. But let's say we weren't able to get all that gunk off. And that does happen sometimes if, let's say, you don't clean it off right away, which I'm not going to point any names, but I've seen it happen before. And you know, it takes some hard work. You got to do a lot more of the salt treatment, get everything cleaned off. And what I'm going to show you next is going to be how to pre-season it one more time, or re-season I should say. If you're not able to get it clean, what you want to do is use a tiny amount of soap as possible, and basically just work the bottom there. Mine's obviously not in bad shape, but just to show you, you want to just do that a few times, rinse it off, and repeat the process until you have a nice bottom. Oh, she got a nice bottom, all right. So yeah, as you can see, very nice and clean. And now we're gonna put it on the stove. You're gonna want to burn off all that water. Now that our pan has all dried up on the stove, we want to apply oil to every surface on the cast iron, including the handle. It's a very porous metal, and it just absorbs everything you put on it. So you want to heavily apply oil all around the cast iron handle, on the back side, inside, everywhere, every little inch. And then we're going to be placing it on the stove. So let's cover it with oil. I have an oil rag I like to use. Basically, I just start from the inside and work my way out. Now that your oven is set to 500 degrees, what you want to do is place it upside down right on the bottom rack. You want to set it on the bottom rack for about an hour at 500 degrees. So now that you've got it sitting in your oven for 500 degrees, set it for an hour on the bottom. Put aluminum foil or something down if you have a lot of gunk inside of it still. That'll help catch it. That's why we're setting it upside down, so everything falls out of the pan onto your aluminum foil if you have it, if you've got a lot of stuff in it. And basically we'll come back to it after that. You want to let it cool off in your oven, and then we'll pull it out and oil it up. So after an hour has elapsed and we've let it sit for about 15 minutes, we're going to take it out of the oven. Now we're going to go ahead and oil it up again, just like we did before we put it in the oven. So as you can see, we finished up oiling our cast iron skillet here, and what you can see is a mirror-like finish, and that's what keeps your food from sticking to your cast iron skillet. Enjoy, and hope you make some great meals with your cast iron skillet.